Плюс, братик, плюс! Насыпай!
Despite Russian triumphalist announcements about allegedly encircling Ukrainian defenders in Myrnohrad and Pokrovsk, the situation on the ground tells an entirely different story. Ukrainian Special Operations units, personally deployed by General Kyrylo Budanov, have been conducting methodical, high-precision operations throughout the area. Their mission: to dismantle infiltration groups and expose the false claims of encirclement. Geolocated combat footage circulating online shows Ukrainian assault and reconnaissance teams actively sweeping through Rodynske, clearing out Russian troops street by street. In parallel, elite units in Pokrovsk launched coordinated raids that led to the capture of several Russian operatives. These combined actions made it clear that Russia's so-called encirclement was nothing more than propaganda, an illusion designed to project progress where there was none. The Russian side was quick to announce what they portrayed as a decisive encirclement of Ukrainian forces in Myrnohrad. Their television anchors and military spokesmen spoke with confidence, calling it a strategic breakthrough, but the proclamation came far too early. In reality, Ukrainian special forces were already executing one of their most extensive clearing operations in the area, eliminating infiltrators and reinforcing defensive corridors that ensured supply routes remained open and secure. The Russians expected panic. Instead, they met disciplined resistance and precise counterattacks that turned their infiltration attempt into a costly failure. The Russian Ministry of Defense issued statements declaring that their troops advancing from Rodynske had seized nearby settlements and connected with other units penetrating the outskirts of Pokrovsk. According to Russian state media, Ukrainian logistics had been cut off and all escape routes placed under artillery control. Even Russia's Chief of General Staff, Valery Gerasimov, proudly reported to President Putin that Myrnohrad had been fully encircled and that a partial encirclement of Pokrovsk was complete, but none of these reports held up once verified by independent analysis and Ukrainian drone footage. Russian military commentators, eager to frame the development as a historic success, celebrated the supposed operation as a non-traditional assault that succeeded despite Ukraine's dominance in drone warfare. They praised their infiltration tactics, describing them as a model of precision that forced Ukrainian drone operators to retreat beyond effective range. The narrative was polished and confident, but full of contradictions. Even as they boasted about the success of the mission, Russian analysts admitted that Ukrainian elite brigades had supposedly escaped the encirclement, while simultaneously claiming that Ukrainian drones were still supplying those same units inside the trap. The two claims couldn't coexist. And indeed, those contradictions unraveled almost immediately. Russian soldiers themselves disproved the notion that Ukrainian drones had been driven away. A video filmed by Russian troops inside Pokrovsk showed the sky alive with Ukrainian drones, more than a dozen clearly visible at once, circling and tracking targets. Their presence left no doubt. Ukrainian aerial reconnaissance still dominated the area. Within hours of Moscow's boastful statements, Ukrainian drone operators released verified geolocated footage showing Ukrainian units actively clearing Russian infiltrators from Rodynske. The imagery revealed small Russian groups that had reached the outskirts and briefly occupied several abandoned houses, only to be swiftly targeted and eliminated before they could entrench. The supposed encirclement was collapsing in real time, not through speculation, but through visible, undeniable evidence. During one of these clearing operations, a Ukrainian BTR-4E armored vehicle from the 14th Chervona Kalina Brigade moved into the settlement under cover provided by reconnaissance drones. As it advanced, the drones identified enemy firing points hidden among residential structures. The armored vehicle then opened up with its 30mm cannon, unleashing a barrage that forced the infiltrators to retreat. Ukrainian troops pursued them through several narrow streets until the last pockets of resistance were neutralized. This rapid and coordinated action prevented Russian forces from regrouping and spared Ukrainian infantry from having to engage in a dangerous close-quarters sweep. Once the mission was complete, the BTR withdrew to secondary positions before Russian drones could respond or call in artillery. The entire encounter, filmed from multiple aerial perspectives, demonstrated how tightly integrated Ukrainian ground and air units have become and how effectively they can repel infiltration attempts. The brigade later confirmed that Rodynske remained under full Ukrainian control and that follow-up cleanup operations were underway. That confirmation shattered any remaining credibility in Russia's claim. What the Kremlin had announced as a breakthrough was in truth another example of inflated battlefield reporting, a premature declaration designed to please political leadership rather than convey the reality of combat. Meanwhile, attention shifted toward Pokrovsk, where the fighting had taken an intense and dramatic turn, with Russian infiltration groups stepping up their activity in the southern and central districts of Pokrovsk. The Ukrainian command responded decisively. Acting on direct orders from General Budanov, Ukraine deployed its most experienced special operations forces, the hunters trained to track, capture, and neutralize enemy saboteurs. These elite units coordinated closely with regular Ukrainian brigades, already holding defensive lines within the city, launching synchronized counter-sabotage sweeps across contested neighborhoods. Within the first few hours, they achieved significant results. Several Russian operatives were captured alive, among them members of Russia's own main directorate of the armed forces, GRU. The discovery revealed how deeply Russian intelligence had tried to penetrate the city and how strategically valuable Pokrovsk remained to the Kremlin's broader war effort. Drone footage released later that day provided an even clearer look at the nature of this combat. One clip showed a Ukrainian operator camouflaged beneath tree cover, patiently tracking a lone Russian soldier advancing down a deserted local road. The Russian, unaware that the town was still under Ukrainian control, moved casually, rifle at his side. Moments later, a single burst ended the encounter. The footage illustrated not only the intensity of close-quarters fighting, but also the confusion among Russian troops, many of whom were misled into believing the area had already been captured. Throughout the region, Ukrainian intelligence units continued to operate alongside airborne and mechanized forces, clearing basements, warehouses, and residential blocks. Every sweep revealed more abandoned Russian gear and evidence of hastily retreating groups. Ukrainian soldiers methodically secured the outskirts, ensuring that small infiltration teams could not regroup or call for reinforcements. The General Staff confirmed that although the situation remained difficult and fluid, decisive steps had been taken to prevent any isolation of Ukrainian units. Once again, the pattern became clear. Russia's generals had oversold their progress to Moscow. The Encirclement that was supposed to mark a turning point in the campaign had turned instead into another failure, a hollow victory declared for political theater. On the battlefield, Ukrainian elite units had not only held their ground, but completely dismantled the illusion of Russian success. What was meant to be a showcase of Russian tactical innovation ended as yet another reminder that control of the narrative does not equal control of the ground.